The following is an original actual play Dungeons & Dragons podcast featuring comedians and improvisers in the great state of Vermont. Welcome to Improvised Weapons. Last time on Improvised Weapons.
I start humming the Blackbeak Academy, fight song.
I think I smell pipeweed.
Oh, great. I know exactly where the gauge is.
You could become level 2!
I've been staring at it, not listening to it.
Like a somewhat like a medieval but suburban high school.
Do you know how to undo 30 years of ghostly aging?
Do any of these particular items have a tail behind them, perhaps?
Oh, this snakehead had a tail behind it once, if you know what I mean.
Diviner. I take out the diviner.
Do you knock on the door of the office, I guess is a better question.
And I say, welcome! The one newest adventuring syndicate has arrived.
Eowyn is very smart.
Yarfik has a way with words, and it's the wrong way.
There is a University of the Phoenix.
Yeah.
I'll do it! Wait, were you asking me to do it?
Oh, Hugo.
That's confusing!
Whoa, you should have come in sooner.
And I was like, nerds.
Did you all hear that new theme song? It comes to us courtesy of Adam Rabin. You can check out all of his cool music and projects at imadeitup.com. Now, you are about to hear our very first live episode recorded at CarnageCon 2017 in Killington, Vermont on November 3rd. It was a super fun time, and we'd again like to thank everyone that came out in person and everyone that joined us on the stream. You can still check out the full video recording of this episode on Victory Condition Gaming's Facebook page, but if you're driving, you should not watch a video. Just keep listening to this. Let's hit it and crit it.
Welcome everybody to Improvised Weapons. I am your friendly neighborhood DM, Sam Kurnit. Starting over here at my right, we have John Van Luling, who is our dwarven cleric, Yarfik Stormhammer. Over here on the far left, we have Nicole Sisk, who is our half-orc barbarian, Olash Mershux. Over here we have Fred Naumann, who plays the human bard, Cassian von Daemos. And to my right, we have our very newest cast member, Lindsey Haddad, playing Valera. What's the last name?
Rayleth.
Valera Rayleth. I want to make sure I pronounced it right. I didn't forget, I promise. Playing Valera Rayleth. So, when last we were together, the party visited Eowyn's alma mater, Blackbeak Academy. They delivered a package, and in doing so, put a tortured soul to rest. They then took Eowyn's newly signed paperwork, got her certified. Whilst meeting with her advisor, who was also the headmaster of the academy, she was offered the opportunity of a lifetime. She was made a teaching assistant at Blackbeak Academy, what we all hope to be one day, of course. And she jumped at the opportunity. So the group said some heartfelt goodbyes. The rest of the party left the school, but first stopped at the registrar's office to make it known that they'd be willing to accept another initiate. And just as they were about to set out on the road to Bastafiere, they were approached by a half-elven woman named Valera Rayleth, who said she was traveling to the same city. They allowed her to join them on the wagon. And we'll be picking up with them in just a moment. But first we have to say that while we are, of course, doing this live from CarnageCon 2017, yes, woo-woos, we're also streaming it care of Victory Condition Gaming, so you can catch us right now, I believe, on Twitch, YouTube, and on the Facebook page that they have. So lots of options for sticking with us live. We are also raising money for Extra Life. So Extra Life, for those of you that don't know, is a fantastic organization. They raise money for all sorts of things right now, raising money for the Children's Miracle Network, which does a lot of stuff for sick children everywhere. So you should definitely donate. You can donate all throughout the stream, all throughout the weekend by going to tinyurl.com/NEG Extra Life. So you should absolutely do that. They definitely deserve your money because they do fantastic work. And you never know, you just might be able to affect the game at some point in some way, shape, or form. Ooh, that's crazy. Not foreshadowing at all. No, not at all. Not even a little bit. So, the group is on the wagon again. They are.
Speak for yourself, all right?
They're traveling from Blackbeak to Bastafier. They've got a fresh party member. We pick up with them just about an hour after leaving the academy. What are you guys up to?
Cassian, I forgot to get a sweatshirt.
It's too late to turn back now, Yarfik. I'm sorry.
But it's so cold up here riding with the oxen. I wanted a sweatshirt
Here.
from the student store.
You're cold? You're covered in hair.
Take my cloak, Yarfik.
Oh, thank you. You're so nice there, little one.
Valera, tell us a little about yourself. Where do you hail from?
Oh, you know, it's a town sort of near here.
Sounds nice.
Yeah.
So you're from around the area. You're local, per se.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. No, I didn't. Yeah, no.
No?
Not super local.
No? Not local at all.
No, not really.
So the town's nearby, but it's not nearby.
It's like nearby in a far sense.
My brain is going like 3,000 miles a minute right now. I'm kind of lost at this point. I'm just going to go back to driving Claude and Beatrice along.
Wow, that was amazing. You rendered Yarfik speechless. I salute you.
I'm a talented woman.
Well, Cassian is actually sitting in the wagon. Daybreak is tethered up and walking beside because Cassian is doing some reading. He is prepping for his Bard College of Lore entrance exam, so he sweet-talked the library into letting him check out a few books, even though he's not a student.
Hey, Cassian, you remember that trick that Aeron was showing you?
I remember how she did it.
Let me show you
haven't quite
something. You
mastered
got that coin that she gave you that she was doing it with?
I flipped the coin over to Yarfik.
I take it, cast light on it, give it back to him. I
Show
just
off.
learned how to do it.
You must be very proud.
So proud.
Olash,
I huff and go back to my book.
I'm reading over Cassian's shoulder.
Reading, yeah.
Yeah, right now I'm reading The Joy of Hex, but I also got 101 Uses for Your Illusion, War Magic, What Is It Good For, and a little book called The People's History of Uthkor.
So we're on the wagon. We're on the way to Bastafier.
I'm just kind of observing all of them. I'm really soaking it in.
So you guys are plodding along. It's good weather for the day. You sort of keep going until you find a good spot to make camp. It's gotten dark enough at this point that it doesn't really make sense to keep traveling. So you pull off the side of the road. It looks like there's actually like a little campsite set up. There's sort of a little fire pit that people have made before you. So you pull the wagon off, you unhitch the oxen, you tie up the oxen in Daybreak, take out your bedrolls, make yourself some food, and sit around the fire and just sort of enjoy a nice, cool evening. Anybody want to do anything before you go to sleep for the evening?
I'll go and walk off a little way and find a nice kind of little secluded area and kneel down and have a chit-chat with Ajia and just tell her I'm so thankful we found someone new to be with us. And
Just gonna chit-chat with her?
Chit-chat, yeah.
It's gonna be like, hey God,
Yeah.
did you meet any boys
God.
today?
Yeah, pretty much.
I lean over to Valera and I say, it's all right, he's religious, not crazy.
I want to ask the group about themselves.
Well, I never pass up an opportunity to talk about myself. My name is Cassian von Daemos. I am a wealthy nobleman from across the ocean. Yes.
Cassian von Daemos of the Von Daemos.
You've heard of us!
Yes!
The very same.
Yes, I heard how you saved that kobold.
Defeated a kobold, saved a child, but then it came back around to saving the kobold, so yeah.
Yes, well, it's, just a relief that there are people out there, sticking up for the ones who can't stick up for themselves.
She's doing good work now.
That's true. She's a model citizen. Yes, her rehabilitation is proceeding apace. We're all about standing up for the little guy. That's the VDAS's whole thing. What else to tell?
Well, you can go down the list on your business card and tell exactly what we do.
Sure. I mean, this will speed things up a lot. I hand her the business card. I've added a ghost whisperer and expert tunneler on there, but the rest of it is.
You added lawyer too.
Yes, that's right. Attorney at law, Cassian von Daemos Esquire, I should have said. But so we're traveling, setting wrongs to right and protecting those who need it.
I'm Yarfik Stormhammer. I'm a cleric of the group here, and sometimes conscience. I like to think, I make sure that we don't kill everyone. We don't take people for granted. But I'm just here if anyone needs a kind ear to bend to or a big hammer in the face, like one of the two.
It's true. He makes sure that out of every 10 people we kill, we capture at least one.
And you may have heard, I'm of those Stormhammers, if you know them. Up in the hills, we're very, very
The
good.
Hill Stormhammers.
The Hill Stormhammers.
You don't say.
I don't know if I've ever asked you this, Yarfik. What is the reputation of the Hill
Not good at all, actually. Mostly, they are a ruthless people who bend people to the law and the law itself. It's the letter of the law or nothing else. And sometimes it just doesn't sit right with me. There are ways and gray areas we all have to live in. And I feel like I am a giant gray area.
Truer words were never spoken.
And I'm Olash.
Oh, well, it's lovely to meet all of you.
Do you speak Tamarind?
I do not.
Oh, then she is a beautiful speaker in the language of Tamarind.
She's the beating heart of our group in many ways. You might say she keeps our rhythm going.
And keeps us modest because she's the best of us.
So you do look familiar. Did you play in a band at one point?
I did, but I've put that behind me. I don't like to talk about it, but yes, I was in a band. I played the tambourine. It was called Ooh. It was we were very popular.
Okay. I'm sorry to bring it up.
She doesn't like to talk about it. If you've seen the behind the music special about her, it got pretty gnarly there.
Let's just say she came out the best in the end out of all of Ooh.
I saw the pop-up video, but not behind the music.
Oh.
So conversation winds down. You guys quench the fire, you roll out your bedrolls and go to sleep. You hear just the normal sounds you'd hear in the evening. You hear like birds flying by.
Damn night birds.
Yeah, night birds. Little rustles out there of nocturnal creatures that are sort of out there and doing whatever nocturnal creatures do. Probably hunting and having sex, I imagine.
And not necessarily in that order.
No, not necessarily, not at the same time either. But they're, so you all sort of fall asleep. And the next morning, let's get some perception checks.
First roll of the night.
First roll.
It was a 10 for perception.
I have a 9.
7.
Okay, you guys are all real sleepy. You guys are very, very asleep. You wake up probably later than you intended to. It's well past dawn at this point. You guys,
morning prayers are going to take forever.
Yeah, you had a very emotional day the day before, so you're all just very tired. You wake up, and who had you had a 9, you said? 10? 9, okay. Cassian, since you rolled the highest, you wake up, you sort of, you sit up, you stretch. You're sleeping on the ground, it's not terribly comfortable. And you look around and you notice that a lot of your stuff has been like rifled through.
Everyone wake up! Wake up! We've been maybe robbed, definitely rifled, not sure what happened. Is anyone missing anything?
Did you say we've been rifled?
I think there's at least rifling, possibly robbery.
I did not consent to being rifled.
Well, no, none of us did. We put out the do not rifle sign, but people just don't respect that.
We were on the oxen last night.
You guys have a freestanding doorknob that you put signs on when you're sleeping.
We had a socket.
Do not disturb.
It's just more civilized when you have a door, wherever you sleep. I look through my stuff, and is anything missing?
Roll investigation.
Same here.
Yes.
Yeah, anyone who's looking, roll investigation.
Okay.
13.
7.
Natural 20.
Okay.
Ooh.
2. Great. That's why you guys are on opposite sides of the table. So, in looking through, Cassian, you don't really see anything that's missing. Valera, you don't really see anything that's missing either. But Yarfik, in going through, you see that your personal effects are all there, but all of the food you guys had is gone. You also notice that there's a very fat-looking raven on top of the wagon.
Hello, little birdie. What have you been up to?
Is this a religion thing, or...?
No, it's not a religion, no. I have a sneaking suspicion that, our fat friend here may have eaten all our food.
I look at the raven and I say, is this true?
Just sort of looks at you and cocks its head.
The man asked you a question!
Olash, you can talk to animals, right?
I can! I forgot. I can't speak with animals.
Okay, so you're gonna do the ritual, speak with animals. So you.
What does that ritual look like? I'm dying to know.
It looks a lot like the Hustle.
So you throw on your dress bell bottoms to go and do the hustle to do this ritual. So you go and you go through all of the steps and motions. The whole thing takes about 10 minutes or so. And then you feel like your end of the bridge forming. So what question are you asking the raven?
I ask if, did you eat all of our food, you fatty?
It looks back at you with that same sort of like head cocked way, and you don't feel the bridge complete like you did when you cast this to speak with Beatrice and Claude a few days ago.
Well, guys, this bird is not only fat but also dumb.
Just our luck.
Dumb ravens. Come here, you! And I'm gonna try to, coax it into my hands. I'm not gonna try to reach over.
That's how you coax?
Yes.
Come here!
Doors are very gentle.
It's like, remind me to teach you a little bit about perception.
Excuse me, that's how my mother brought me to bed every night. Come here, you!
Sounds very relaxing.
Do we know how intelligent the
Raven
is? Yeah.
I mean, Olash couldn't mentally commune with it, right? So
probably not. Okay.
it might not even be a real bird for all we know.
That could be.
Could be some trick or illusion of magic. I reach over and I start rifling through 101 uses for your illusions to see if I can find it.
Get your nose out. You're not Eowyn. Get out of the books.
So
Someone
it's about
has to be the intellectual around here, damn it.
It's about this time that so there's all this sort of kerfuffle going on. You're all right around the base of the wagon, looking up at this raven, trying to figure out what's going on. When behind you, you hear this sort of like a whoosh and a pop.
I turn around.
Look around. Take a look.
And there's a large dog there. And it sort of looks at you with a similarly cockeyed stare that the raven is giving. And then it puts its head down and starts going through your bags, going through your stuff.
Hey, get out of there! Get out of there!
Are you just yelling at it, or are you going up to it?
Going up to shoot it.
So you go up to it, and just as you're about to slap it on the hindquarters, disappears. And then you hear another whoosh pop on the other side of the wagon.
I think some students from the academy are pranking us. Teleporting animals, ravens that can't talk to people. This is suspicious.
I didn't know this was rush week at the fraternities up there. This is pretty bad.
I call out to the surrounding woods and trees. Whoever's there, show yourself.
We mean you no harm. Get your animals out of our packs.
Still, there's that dog just appeared on the other side of the wagon. The raven is on top of the wagon. You hear sort of a rustling in the trees off to the left, behind where the dog was initially.
Do I have anything left in my bag? Like any food left, I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there are scraps in there.
Okay.
Dogs aren't always that thorough.
I'm gonna pull out a scrap and sort of hold it in my hand to try and entice the dog closer, or the raven, or whoever.
Roll persuasion.
Now the ball's in Cassian's court. Okay, that is a 20, not natural.
Yeah, so the dog gently paws forward, comes closer to you. You're able to get a much better look at it now. This isn't your dad's Labrador Retriever. This is a much more muscular dog than you're used to seeing, and it actually has pointed ears, and not pointed like a German Shepherd's ears are pointed almost to a knife tip. And its eyes are ice blue, and there are no pupils.
Do we recognize it as any kind of animal we've seen before?
Roll intelligence.
It's just
I'm gonna do that too.
That is a 14.
That's a 3.
Yarfik, you're not sure exactly what it is, but you've heard tale of these sort of fey dogs. They generally only exist in the Feywild. You're not sure how they might have gotten here, but you have heard tale of these dogs that have the ability to teleport, essentially.
Has anyone ever heard of the Feywild?
Can I roll to see if I know what it is?
Sure.
7.
Nope.
Cassian's gonna go ahead and roll that too. That's a 13.
Yeah,
if it's intelligence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've heard of the Feywild.
Okay, I say I have.
Well, for those of us not in the know, it's a realm outside of our own plane. Another plane where wild fey creatures live, as far as I remember. And this dog seems to be one of those creatures. Forget the name of it. It teleports. It's like a poof dog. It's like it's a poof and it goes away.
Poof dog. Let's go with that.
Poof dog.
I say so. What you're saying is we're being punked by fairies, not college students.
They don't exactly like to be called fairies. There's many different type of fey creatures. You have to be really careful when it's really not a good place to go.
I look at the dog and I say, "Can you understand what I'm saying?"
It just sort of looks up at you and then reaches down to quickly snatch the food out of your hand.
Inconclusive.
I'm gonna see if I can get the raven down from where it is. Just bring it down.
Roll perception really quick.
9.
So while you guys were sort of turned looking at the dog, the poof dog, as we have now defined them, you turn around to try and get the raven down, and it's gone.
Was it there before when the dog was there?
It was there when the dog was there.
Have we seen the dog and the raven in the same photograph?
That's odd. I'm gonna find my pack and bring it to me and put it back on. Get it out of the way of these things.
I say, I'm just gonna put this out there to the group. These things don't seem hostile. All they've done is admittedly eat more than their fair share of food. Seems like a teleporting dog could come in handy at some point.
Are you saying we capture it and make it a pet?
I'm saying we see if it wants to come with us.
Basically what I just said, except nicer.
Yes, that's the difference between you and I. I hop up onto the wagon and I like hold out another little food scrap and see if the dog wants to come chill.
Trying to coax it into the wagon, essentially?
Yes.
So as you do that, does a 21 hit you?
Why, yes, it does.
As you do that, from behind, you feel this sting in your back. As you take, that is 5 points of piercing damage. And I also need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, jeez. Okay. That's a 3.
Yeah, you did not make your Constitution saving throw. So that is... Ooh, I get to use my new Carnage die. That is 8 points of poison damage.
Okay.
As you turn to look at what just stung you, and you see this small red humanoid figure with leathery wings that are big for it, though it is still very small, and this sort of scorpion-like tail. The scorpion tail is what is dug into your back.
It's still
and it
attached to me?
laughs at you. It goes,
Do we
That's
hear
not
that?
funny.
yeah, you guys all hear the laugh.
I'm rushing into the
So we
into the
can
wagon.
see the.
It is inside the wagon. The only one who can see
Inside.
it and actually knows its location is Cassian.
I'm jumping in the back of the wagon.
Okay,
And
let's
it's a
roll
big
initiative,
jump.
guys.
It's a big jump. Natural
Okay.
1.
Okay, Yarfik's going last.
So that's a 4 total.
I have an 8.
13.
17.
So Olash, you're gonna be up first. Let me get some stuff on the board here.
We're actually using the map. We're using the map.
We're using the map.
It's time to use the map. No, nobody?
Not the same.
There,
I thought that was just a song for changing the map.
Yeah. We're changing from
There are
no
all
map
sorts
to a map.
To a map. All right.
Did you bring those candles from your home?
I did bring those candles.
I like it. It gives it an informal.
Gotta weigh the map down with something.
I like that they're not lit though.
Well, no, there's fire code in the forest.
How sweet would
There's
that
a lot of
be?
dry
I don't know what the
brush.
conditions are like.
Look, haven't you seen what happens in California?
I think we should really.
No,
we-
I've never been to California.
Next live recording, we gotta just like do it all up with spooky candles
Yeah.
and just like make it look like one of those movies about like.
Yes,
D&D.
we'll do it in the woods
We'll
next
do it
time.
live in the
All
top of the mountain.
handheld
We'll do it on top of
cameras.
Killington.
Someone will bring a 100-foot extension cord.
All right.
Anyway, Olash, you're up.
Just 100 foot.
Okay.
So I'm still like outside of the wagon?
Correct.
Okay, I'm gonna go see what's happening in the wagon.
Okay, so you're toddling over, and you see that Cassian is in there, his back to, like, inside the wagon to it. And you can see this little red dude on his back, like, perched on him, that just sort of stabbed him with his tail. And he's still perched on his back.
Can I like try to like swat him with my axe?
You absolutely
You know
can.
how all this
I
works.
love that that's where we're going with this.
It's gonna be one
Roll
of
and
those.
attack.
Are you
And are you using mercy?
Oh.
Misery?
Misery, yes. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm using misery.
Okay.
You couldn't kill me.
Hey, as having experienced this last time where she used the blunt end of her axe and just almost cleats my face off.
Yeah, to be clear, I'm not like swinging it.
Yeah, I get
We
it.
all get what you're
Yeah,
trying
you know,
to do.
you're giant fly swattering. You're fly swattering.
But my life is in the
I
hands of
just
the
wanna
dice
be
now.
clear.
Yeah.
They've not been kind.
Come on, big bucks, no whammies.
Or
What is it total?
okay, total 4 plus 7 is
So it's an 11. So with an 11, you don't hit anyone. You swing through in just this sort of like, come on, get going. Like someone trying to shoo a dog out with a broom. But it just you're so cautious about not cutting Cassian's head off that you swing so incredibly wide, you don't even touch the wagon itself.
Okay.
So everybody's okay. Everyone's okay. Cassian,
Okay, is it still sitting on me?
it's still perched on your back, yeah.
Okay. I am going to hit it with the dissonant whispers. So I stare right at its beady little cackling eyes, and I just say, and unleash a wave of noxious magics.
Okay. What is the DC?
13.
Well, no, I mean, what is it?
Wisdom.
Wisdom. Okay, cool. Does not make it save.
Okay, that is 14 damage.
14 damage. Okay, so you really pissed that this thing just stabbed you in the back. You say blaffish, and these sort of dark tendrils pour out of your mouth, and they like pool in front of you, and then they reach out behind you, and they enter the ears of this small creature who is still cackling, still doing that like but it just sort of starts to slowly morph into this demonic, horrible sound. So it's like a just these horrible noises as the psychic pressure that's going in on it is too much. Blood starts to pour out of its ears, but it's not red, it's black as it just starts to pour down, and you feel sort of the pressure of its small claws in your back release as it just falls backward and then tumbles down you and lands on the floor of the wagon.
Okay. Yarfik, do you want to keep this thing from dying?
I'm not even there yet.
Well, you're around.
Yeah, I'm coming. I don't want you to kill it.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's my turn. That's my action. So.
Well, the bad guys are up next. Okay. And the dogs didn't really cotton too well to that.
Dogs plural?
Dogs plural.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh god.
As they both poof into existence. The dog that's on the left over here near Olash is going to go straight for the target it can see initially, which is Olash. And that is a 19 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
So that is 6. Yeah, that's 6 piercing damage as it runs up behind you and bites you right on the flank. The other one actually jumps into the back of the wagon.
Over me?
Over you. You're very short.
Don't act so surprised.
You would get an attack of opportunity if you want to take
I'd like
it.
to take it. So just straight with the Warhammer. That is a 12.
12 does not hit. So you swing with the Warhammer. The dog just sails harmlessly over you. As it lands in the back of the wagon, sort of stands over the corpse of this small red humanoid and bites at you, Cassian. But it's only a 15, which I believe does not hit, correct?
Does not.
So it bites at you, but you just sort of you recoil and step back and make no hit on it. Next up is Valera.
Cool. How far away am I from the dog that's attacking Olash?
You are about 5, 10, 15, 20 feet or so.
20 feet? Okay. Cool. I'm gonna cast Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
On the dog.
Whoa.
So you have to roll
yeah.
a d20.
Yeah. 11.
Okay, so with an 11, you reach into your cloak and you take out this sphere that you have. It's your arcane focus, and it's sort of a blue sphere with this like black swirling on the inside of it. And you take a moment, focus your energy, and out of the sphere shoots this black bolt, just straight dead ahead. But the dog just moves out of the way at the last moment, and it sails harmlessly through where it was, making no contact. Do you want to move at all? Because you can still move.
Yes. I do want to move closer. Oh man. Okay.
Want to step right in the fire, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I'll stay there.
Okay, cool. And next up is Yarfik.
I'm gonna climb to the wagon where the dog went. What do I see?
How many people can fit in this wagon?
I mean, you guys could all sit in there.
Okay.
It's a sizable wagon.
Okay.
Listen, we got the good stuff from, the wheelwright. Oh, I promised him I would tell people his name.
You didn't write it down. Where is it? That's Dr. Scutch. That's not him.
No, that's not him.
Yes, that's it. Dr. Scutch's wagon.
So, Yarfik, you jump up into the wagon. You see that one of the Poof dogs is standing over that red humanoid who has fallen down on the floor with, like, ichor streaming out of its head. And meanwhile, Cassian is sort of at the front end of the wagon, like, practically stumbling backward out of it.
Oh, jeez. So the thing on the ground is pretty much dying, or is it, look, it's in pain?
It is
The red thing.
dead, essentially.
Great. I'm going to try to restrain the Poof dog.
Like, grapple it?
Yes.
Okay.
Jump on its back. So a straight strength check?
Yep.
Ooh. That is a 19.
19. So you jump onto the Poof dog, and
Let's just take a minute to consider what just happened here. The only thing you know about these dogs is that they can teleport. And your idea is to try and hold it in place?
I don't know if it can teleport by itself. It can teleport me with it. I'm trying to see where it's going.
Okay, all right.
So you jump on its back.
I jump its back.
And
Scale mail.
and this is not the first time you've wrestled a dog. So you jump on its back and you like lock your arms around under its stomach and sort of get your hands like under its forelegs.
I Nelson it, yeah.
Yeah. So you get it, and you've got it sort of up in the air, so it's on its back legs. It doesn't really have leverage or anything, and you've got it. You feel like you've got it pretty securely. Olash, back to the top.
Okay, I'm gonna take a swing at the one that attacked me. And to clarify, I'm using the sharp side. Misery.
Yes.
And I'm using misery still. So that's 20, not natural.
That hits.
So
Oh, jeez.
12, 9, so 13 damage.
13 damage? Okay. So you swing, you do 13 damage. Don't forget, you take a quarter damage. So as you swing, you make contact. You sort of hit the dog like along the side. And it does not make a poof noise when you do that. It just makes one of those, a classic like, but it also just like bit you. As you do a hefty chunk of damage to that guy.
Do you want us to kill these guys or not, Sam?
And then it's not up to me, okay? I'm just giving you a situation. But you do a hefty chunk of damage to it, and then you feel that sort of like pain around your heart, just like you felt the last time you used misery, as you take 3 points of necrotic damage. Staying put?
Yeah.
Cassian.
Okay, I'm gonna draw my rapier, and I don't really want to accidentally skewer Yarfik, so I'm gonna hop down out of the wagon.
You
and,
couldn't hit me if you tried.
All right, I stabbed the one that Yarfik's holding.
Roll with advantage.
Yeah. Oh,
Because it's restrained.
oh boy!
That was a nat one.
Spared me a fumble. Okay, that is 21.
21. Roll damage. That definitely hits.
Okay. 4.
4. Okay. So you go to stab at the dog that Yarfik is holding back, but you sort of pull your punch just a little bit because you're like, maybe I don't actually want to stab Yarfik right now. Save that for later. So you don't go in too deep, but you still do damage as it takes 4 points. And next up is the bad guys. And the dog that you are holding is going to, you sort of hear this like whoosh in your ears.
Oh no, you don't.
And then you hear, it looks like you're going through lights, like hyperspace.
Been once before in a very bad bender.
As everything around you is just like flashing colors and sort of this like cloudy miasma as you whoosh, and then you appear with the dog in the same position, but on the other side of the livestock that you guys
You
have.
are my new best friend. That was cool.
Meanwhile, the other one just got hit by Olash and is going to retaliate in kind, and that is a 20, not natural to hit, which hits. Yeah, okay, I'm just making sure.
You didn't find an extra sheet scale now?
And that is 5 points of piercing damage as it goes ahead and just bites at like the same place it bit you before. So it's really trying to tear you open on the flank.
Right.
And next up is Valera.
Okay, I'm gonna cast Eldritch Blast again.
Okay.
At the one that just attacked Olash. That is a 23.
23 hits.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll your damage.
That's an 8.
So once again, still holding your orb, you focus your energy into it, and this searing black beam fires out of it and just rakes across the side of the dog as you see it sort of falter in its step. It's been injured on its left side. It has an axe wound on its left side. Now on the right side, it has this sort of like wound that's like searing with crackling black energy. And it is like full on limping, but still its hackles are all up. Like this thing is ready to fight to the death, but it looks like it's pretty near death.
Cool.
Cool. Yarfik.
Can I cast Thaumaturgy while I'm holding onto this thing still, or do I have to do a grapple?
Yeah, sure.
So I'm gonna cast Thaumaturgy and make my voice boom around this dog and try to like see if it understands me and just say, "Stop! Stop, all of you! We mean you no harm. We just want to know why you're doing this." You're not meant to be here. And I
Nothing.
pile driver.
Okay, roll, I guess it'd be an unarmed attack, so...
Just strength.
Strength and your proficiency.
It's a 19 plus 3 plus 2, so that is a 26.
Yeah, that hits. We can go ahead and say that one hits. It'll be a D4 plus your strength modifier.
That's a 5.
5. Okay, so you try to talk the dog down, but you get nothing. You're not getting through at all. So you just sort of pick it up and slam it into the ground, right on its butt bone.
Inverted atomic drop.
Yeah, and it hurt. Let me see something real quick. Roll a strength check.
Just straight strength?
Yeah.
That's 17.
You managed to keep your grip on it.
Oh, I'm going for a ride.
Back to the top, Olash.
Attacking the same dog.
Okay.
This dog is really...
I forgot about
This
that
time, are you going to hit it with the
earlier.
handle of your axe instead?
I'm gonna try to pet it. No.
You almost knocked Scotch out when you did that.
Oh no. It's a 10.
10 does not hit, so you swing and it goes wide. Staying put?
Yeah.
Okay, Cassian.
All right, I'm gonna jump down out of the wagon and attack this dog that's fighting Olash.
Oh, sure, I'll just
Rapier.
keep hanging on to this one over
You
here.
seem like you got it under control. That's 20,
That hits.
and that's a 7 for damage.
7 for damage. So you jump out of the wagon just as you see Olash whiff on her last attack, and you run in past her and just like through the crook of her arm, stab forward with your rapier, and you get the dog just right through the neck, and it just falls limp. So that's one dog down.
And I say, sit!
All right. I leave.
You're done with us. You're leaving the group.
Anything else? You got a little movement left if you want it.
I guess I'm gonna try and get around to see what's going on with Yarfik. I'm gonna go around the wagon, get line of sight on him.
Make it to about there.
And I'm also gonna use my second wind, which it's my ability from my one fighter level that lets me recover a little bit of HP. So I'm just gonna kind of like psych myself up. I'm like, you got this, you got this. Just slapping myself a little bit.
Yeah.
And get back in the game. And I gained 3 hit points.
Okay, that's 3 more than you had before.
See, it's just you didn't say welcome. Welcome to my second time.
Next time.
So next up is the other Poof dog, who is going to try and struggle out of his relative bonds. That's an 18. Roll strength check.
Yeah, he gets out of his bonds.
Okay, so he sort of like kicks backward, hits you right in the crotch, and you haven't really put on your armor yet. So you let go, and he goes free, and just sort of
Poofs away.
runs over there. He can't poof away yet. That would take an action. But he just sort of runs over there and then like turns on his heel, steels himself against further attack. Valera.
Oh, I mean, I'm just gonna turn around and cast Eldritch Blast on that one too.
You get an Eldritch Blast, and you get an Eldritch Blast.
Everyone gets an Eldritch Blast. 11.
So you turn around, and in the excitement, you once again focus your energy, and this searing black beam fires out of your orb, but it just goes wide. In the distance, you see like a tree branch fall.
Jeez.
You gonna move? Staying put?
I will. Oh God, I will stay put.
Yarfik.
I'm charging the dog. I'm gonna try to tackle it back to. How many feet is it away?
5, 10, 15, 20.
So I have enough movement. I'm gonna run over and try to tackle it to the ground.
Okay.
It's not getting away from me.
That's what you want to do. That's fine. Go ahead and roll a roll strength.
That is a 12.
You put yourself in like the starting position for a race and dig your feet in and just blast off. Like, remember the scene in the beginning of Wanted where the dude's in the elevator and he like cracks the back wall with his foot when he takes off? It's like that. You go charging forward, and then you just like you're closing just as you're about 5 feet away from the Poof dog. You leap trying to land on it, and you just sail right over it.
Where did I land?
You land right behind it. Roll Dex really quick. See if you can land on your feet.
That is 22.
22, yeah. So you manage, like, you combat roll when you come out of it and land on your feet and running. So
You're a slippery one.
you're all set. But that's your whole turn.
Yeah.
So Olash,
How far am I from the dog?
you are 5, 10, 15, 20 or so feet.
So I can get up to it.
Yes.
And take a swing at it.
Absolutely.
Then that's what I'm gonna do.
One of the longest fights with dogs we've ever had.
16?
16 hits.
Yay! Aw. 7.
So you rush forward and take a swing at the dog and hit it reliably, as you often do hit things. And in doing so, you take just 1 point of that necrotic damage. You feel that pain around your heart again. Dog's not looking great, guys. Not happy. It's not a happy dog.
We're not happy either.
Cassian.
I'm actually gonna hop up in the wagon again and go over to the little red gremlin thingy, and using just like the little bits and scraps of medicine that I've picked up from like just barding around for a while, I'm gonna just see if I can keep it from fully dying.
Someday you have to write your memoirs and call them Barding Around.
So that's a 13. For medicine.
13, you go up to it and you're like trying to almost perform CPR on it. You're like trying to inspect the wounds.
Don't die, you son of a bitch!
But you're just not familiar enough with the physiology of this creature. Like you're doing it like you would do to a human, because that's what you are familiar with. But this is not a human
Give
creature.
it mouth to mouth.
Hey, you know what? You guys can't see in the wagon. You don't know.
Hey, you know what, Yarfik? Love is love.
It is true.
Next up is the dog, who is surrounded by so many people right now. It doesn't know what it wants to do.
Wants to be a good boy.
That ship has sailed a little bit, but it's going to teleport again. So you hear that same as it appears over by the corpse of its fallen friend. Valera.
You know what? I'm gonna move closer to the dog. So I'm like 10 feet away, and then I'm gonna cast poison spray.
Okay. Is that a saving throw for the dog, or is that a roll to hit for you?
That is a saving throw for the dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the saving throw? What's the DC?
14.
14, and it is charisma. Why is it charisma? That doesn't make any sense.
It's con.
I'm too pretty to be poisoned.
It is con.
Donate to
That's what I was
Extra
confused
Life.
about. It is con.
So please donate to Extra Life.
Okay, so it rolled a natural 1, so it just like open mouthed.
I thought it was a frisbee.
The full-on poison spray. Hey, remember before when you gave it a treat, Cassian? It was like, oh, that's what's happening right now.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
So you hold out your orb, and this just like viscous green, like sort of half fluid, half gas comes pouring out of it. And go ahead and roll damage.
Oh, what is that? The 12. That is a 9.
9 damage. So open mouth, you just pour your poison down this dog's mouth. This sounds like a metal song. Pour your poison down my open mouth. You pour it down its open mouth, and it sort of like swallows a little bit, and then you can see it sort of like shudder, and foam starts to form at the corners of its lips.
It's rabid.
As it sort of like starts to loll from side to side. And then it just, like, you can see its legs give out one by one as it just falls forward and then falls to the side and sort of rolls over on its back with this, like, horrible contorted expression on its face. Yeah, he did.
Cool.
We're out of combat, guys.
I poke my head out of the wagon and I say, I'm losing him!
I'm coming.
Perfect segue to remind everybody that you can donate to Extra Life by going to tinyurl.com/negextralife to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. What we are doing in the game right now is sort of like trying to help a child live. Sort of, but not really. Keep going.
I clamber up into the wagon and I cast Spare the Dying on the little red thing.
What are the specifics of Spare the Dying?
So one living creature with 0 current hit points becomes stable. I can go into more if I go back to the base.
Stable, correct me if I'm wrong, means it's what, still unconscious but just not dying?
Not dying anymore.
It would be at 0 hit points but no longer making death
Hence
saves.
why Spare the Dying.
So you go up, you touch your hand to this small red humanoid, cast Spare the Dying. You can feel sort of the power of Ajia flowing out of you and into it, but there's like some block of some kind and it comes pouring back into you. This creature's too far gone.
It only says the spell has no effect on undead or constructs. Interesting.
Has
You
no effect
roll
on undead.
Yeah, undead or constructs?
Roll intelligence with proficiency real quick.
20, not natural.
You suspect that this creature took far too much damage for you to be able to spare it or resurrect it.
Excuse me for a minute. Step off the wagon. No! Sorry.
I go up to Yarfik and I put a hand on his shoulder and I say, "You did everything you could."
I didn't. I played with a poof dog for way too long. What did you do to it, Cassian? How did you do that?
Magic. I don't know. It didn't look like I could hit it with my regular weapons.
I guess so. I need to be alone for a second. I'm gonna trudge off a little ways in the woods.
Yarfik goes off into the woods a little bit, has some me time. What are you guys doing?
Do any of us know what this thing is?
I mean, you've all got a chance to take a look at it now. If you want to roll intelligence.
Yeah. Can we?
Valyria, you can roll with your proficiency bonus.
Can I?
Yeah, you can too.
Okay.
All right, that's
16,
14.
14,
4.
Natural 20.
natural 20. Okay, so in now being able to get a really good look at it, since you're no longer playing rodeo with a dog, you recognize it instantly. This is an imp.
Shit.
I'm gonna take back what I just said there. Not so upset this thing is dead.
Yeah.
what is it?
It's an imp.
It did seem pretty mischievous. You mean like an actual demon?
Along those lines, yeah. They're known to be in the Feywild and other places, but I've never seen one up close before.
The other thing you know about imps is that they are shape changers. So
This was the Raven. That makes sense. Same size.
It understood me.
I'm sorry, Olash. I'm sorry that it played a trick on you. But it got what it deserved because Cassian apparently talked its brain out of its head.
I say, speaking of which, so
That's a segue.
Valyria, you're a mage.
Indeed I am. Cassian, indeed.
Good to know.
Would I understand what she is from the scene with the magic she did, or
you can ask a question.
do I know if she is a warlock or not?
You can ask her
I
a
can ask her
question.
Valyria, where did you study your magic?
I'm mostly self-taught.
Oh!
I did attend school.
Was this in the town that's not near here, but sort of near here and kind of far away?
Yeah, but next to that.
Next to it. Okay,
Yeah.
so you were
Yeah.
a transfer student. You went across borders to.
I did, yeah.
I say, that's fascinating. I learned mine from a bardic mentor. We were so close. I still look up to him.
So, I really don't want to be this forward, but you're self-taught. That's wonderful. I'm glad you got the gumption to get out there and learn something new, and it's great. But usually in these lines of magical, let's call them ley lines in certain sects, you're usually helped along by a mentor of some sort.
Oh, yes, no, I did have a mentor.
Could I ask who they might be?
You could.
Ooh, was it Timeo? Timeo the Bard?
Not everyone was
Timeo.
trained by Timeo the Bard.
Whatever, he's very well regarded.
He's quite well regarded. He's a well-regarded bard.
I just thought it would be cool if we had, a random connection.
You'd be like Eskimo brothers.
I will say this now before you answer. There's no judgment here. There's no righteousness behind what I'm saying. I just want to know, for my own safety, who you might be in league with.
Okay,
I love all people. I am part of the goddess of love's, I guess army, which is strange to say out loud. But
She's the goddess of life.
Life and love. There's love in life.
Just gonna point out that also sounds like a metal song. The goddess of love's army.
yes, I definitely
But I
wanna-
believe in life first, and I don't want to. If you are pulling from another area that may be against life,
Oh, no, I mean, I myself am not against life.
that's good to hear.
I do, okay, I feel like I can trust you guys.
You've only known us for like 20 hours, sure.
You know what? Then maybe I won't tell you.
I'm just being honest
This
with
is
you.
why we usually let Cassian handle the interrogations.
I am not judging you at all. I just, for the safety of my group, and you know of us, we stand
This
up for
is
the little
true.
guy.
Yes, exactly. And okay, so I will confess that
I'm not in confession right now. If you say anything to me, I'm not going to hold it dear to my heart. Everyone can hear this.
Yes, I'm aware.
Okay.
Okay, I've heard of you. I am a fan. I wanted to join your group.
You sought us out on purpose.
I did. Because I am a warlock, and the ORE does not look kindly on my type.
I turn to Olash and I say, "Our first groupie!" And I hug her.
I walk up slowly, I take your hand, and I say, "There's no judgment here from the ORE. If you are a good person, a good heart, and value life, that's all I ask."
Yes, I do have papers that say I'm ORE legit.
Cool.
So,
I say, Yarfik, listen.
Don't you start with me. You're not going to get me lying like you. I'm
What
not.
is
I'm
there
not
are you-
certified. You know, I'm a
Okay.
little bit of a freelancer myself.
It's
I
true,
can
it's
roll
true.
with this.
all right.
There's no problem with me with it. I'll just let you know I'm not a very good liar.
Oh, that's okay. I'll take care of the lying.
I'm going to go and pour myself some ale. This is going to be a
Wait,
long
wait.
2 for 2 in
I have-
conversations with Yarfik.
I have one last confession.
Oh, dear Lord.
But Valir is not my real name.
What is it?
My real name is Ylldove Cartranna.
Do I know Ylldove of Cartranna or where Cartranna is?
Roll intelligence.
Is it a noble family, basically? Is what I'm asking.
Roll intelligence.
It's Ylda of Cartranna?
Ylldove.
Ylldove.
Ylldove, yeah.
It's one word, not...
Ylldove.
You ain't never heard of him,
Cartranna.
no. Ylldove.
I say,
Just waiting for that
Doesn't it
reaction.
feel better to burden yourself?
I do. I feel better. I feel like it was a little soon, but I wanted to get that off my
I'm
chest.
gonna wager a guess that Olash is just pretty lost throughout this whole conversation.
I mean, you can decide that that's what Olash is. I imagine that you come off this and you, like, Olash turns to her and is like, wait a minute, Valera, your name is Ylldove? But you're Valera.
I pick up the imp by its tail and just kind of like chuck it into the bushes. I don't want that, stinking up the wagon.
Can I also ask, are you really on the way to Bostaviera or are you just joining us on our travels?
Well, I was sort of on the way already, but then I saw you guys, and I was like, cool, I found them already.
So we would request to find us.
Yeah.
I'm liking you more and more every day.
We've known each other for
20
less than a
hours.
day.
I say, well, you certainly handled yourself well enough in that fight. Poured your poison down that dog's throat like a champ.
There's only one more thing you have to do to join Vidas.
What's that?
I'm gonna go dig a tunnel and get stuck in it to see what happens.
Yarfik, we don't have time.
Darn it!
We already slept till noon and then fought a bunch of demons, so...
Poof dogs. There was one imp and a poof dog. I'm very sad about poof dog.
I do actually think we should probably hit the road. Speaking for myself, Ylldove, we would love to have you in the group. We could use all the help we could
Is
get.
your name
as you can
Ylldove
see.
or Ylldove?
Ylldove.
Okay, I just want to make sure of that. I had wrote it down wrong.
It's okay, you'll get it wrong anyway.
I am a little troubled that there may be a tear between the Feywild and here in this area. I don't know if we should leave so soon. We might want to investigate a little bit so we can let somebody know about this.
That's a thing that can happen? A tear?
You just saw an imp and 2 poof dogs come out of nowhere.
Well,
Yeah. I don't know what all demons do and how they get around.
Take it from someone who had to study about demons quite often. They're not up to much good to begin with, and if they find a way in that's easy, they'll keep using it.
All right, so you think we should investigate the woods around here, or?
Let's take a cursory glance and make sure there's not like a portal or a place they came from or some summoning circle that someone would have brought them here with.
Okay, we're looking for portals.
Yes.
I look for outhouses.
Roll perception.
14.
You don't find any outhouses.
Okay. No, seriously, I'm looking around for any shimmering magical portals.
Yeah, how long do you want to spend looking?
I mean, we are needed in Bastavia. Let's give it a good...
Like 10 minutes? What?
Wow.
What did you
A
say?
solid 10 minutes. I spent longer looking for keys.
I was going to look for like an hour maybe and like give it an hour.
All right. You're the one who knew there might be a portal. I'll defer to your expertise here.
I'm saying I knew there might be a portal. I'm just suspecting there's a portal.
I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one.
Awesome.
Did you roll perception as
I
well?
did not roll perception.
I guess I'll help them look.
9.
9.
10.
7.
You guys sort of fan out from where you were at your campsite here, all sort of going off in a different direction. You all say, we'll go for about a half hour and then we'll meet back at the wagon. And in looking, you don't really find much in the way of like tears in the fabric of space-time. Not that any of you really know exactly what you're looking for either, but it's mostly just forest. You do see that it is. There seem to be less critters around in the area than you would expect in something like this. You suppose that the dogs and the imp may have had something to do with that. But other than that, there's really nothing out of the ordinary. It's just a normal forest.
I get back to the wagon and I tack up one of my pamphlets, and then below it I turn it over and I write on the back, "Watch out for imps and poof dogs," and I tack that up below.
And then I write a note and I say, "If you do find any imps and poof dogs, contact Von Daemos Adventuring Syndicate." And I put my business card.
Anyone else want to nail anything to a tree? Do you want to nail up the corpse just so the other ones know you mean business?
Just kidding.
Wow. It's pretty cool. I think I already tossed the corpse into the bushes and I don't really want to go look for it.
Then you guys, you pack up all your stuff, roll up your bedrolls, get everything back in the wagon, sort of clean up the detritus of the dogs having gone through all of your food and stores, and you get back on the road. You guys want to like stop and hunt or anything? You don't really have much in the way of rations left over.
We're probably going to have to.
You've got all the water you could need, but you don't have food.
I say, is anyone in the group good at hunting or foraging or just survival generally?
I'm okay. I mean, I'm not great. I'm more than happy to go off and see if I can find something for the group, but I'd like if someone else could help.
Me.
Okay.
Do you want company or you want to go alone?
Yeah. Either way.
I'll come with you.
So I don't have any training in survival, but I'm fairly stealthy. Do I think, would it be reasonable that I could accompany her and just I'm gonna stay with the wagon if these two are going.
I can find food and fresh water for myself and up to 5 other people each day, provided that the land offers berries, small game water, and so forth.
Oh, there's plenty of so forth.
All right, no, I'm just gonna hang back at the campsite and look up the chapter in Warlocks in everything you ever wanted to know about magic, but are too afraid to ask.
You can just ask me, Cassian.
No, he's too afraid. Great. So Olash, you guys stop the wagon at a point, and she goes foraging off. She comes back with like this big armload of berries, and they're red and sweet, so they're good to eat. And you guys have a nice berry lunch/breakfast, and then you guys all have pretty bad gas the rest of the way.
That's why I'm driving.
But the rest of the trip is without incident.
I blame my gas on Daybreak.
That's cold, man. That innocent horse.
Every time I pass gas, I just cast Minor Illusion.
To make it seem like Yarfik passed gas?
Yeah.
But you keep going. Once again, you're not harried at all anymore by anything. It's pretty clear weather the entire way through.
It's a very strange occurrence. In general, that doesn't happen a lot. I'm a little worried about where we're going.
Are you concerned someone is targeting us, or?
I'm more concerned that someone did something stupid and left it for someone else to clean up. Speaking from experience of doing stupid things.
So I might have another confession to make. I don't know if this has anything to do with me. I don't. But I did. Remember how I said I had a mentor?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I kind of stole a book from him. I had to, though.
No. Books are wonderful. What kind of book did you steal from him?
It was a very rare book.
I'm glad Eowyn's not here. She'd get very excited about that.
Well, I buried it.
You buried it?
I had to. I can't give it back. It was demanded of me.
What kind of book? Wait. The book was demanded of you by someone else?
Yeah.
Are you lying to me?
No, I'm not lying.
Is this by way of saying that you think your master is sending these creatures after you?
It's possible. Yes, that is what I am saying.
So, are you saying then that Vidas, you need our help?
Yeah.
You're not just a fan?
You're also a client?
Well, I mean, I thought, I could pay you guys in friendship.
That's the only currency Olash accepts.
I give her a hug.
That's a down payment.
I guess if Olash is taking the friendship, then we're at your disposal, milady.
Well, you know,
Did I speak out of turn? I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Sorry, I was starting to agree with you, just in my usual long-winded manner. You know, we help people in distress. It's what we do.
Do you remember where you buried this book?
No, we don't want to get the book.
I thought it was asked of you.
No, I already got the... It was asked of me to steal the book.
Oh.
So I did that. And then I buried the...
So, is someone looking for the book, or just someone asked you to steal it and then just get rid of it?
He just asked me to steal it. I don't know what
You
he wanted
didn't
me
ask
to...
for it?
They just didn't want your mentor
They just
to
didn't
have
want my mentor to have it, yeah. And I, again, no idea if the imps are connected.
What? You said it's a rare book. Did you look inside of it? Do you know anything about it?
I didn't want to... I just felt so bad about stealing
Roll a
it.
perception check.
I'm not lying, I'm really not.
What are you rolling? Perception?
No, perception.
Insight?
Insight, yeah. You can't lie to me. Yes, you can. That's a 10.
10.
Hiding
Yeah.
all the time.
I'm asking if it's an evil book. You know, I could destroy it for you, then no one can ever come and get it from me ever again.
Well, I buried it back by the school, so I say let's just keep going and...
You buried it by... Oh, wow. A rare book that your master had is now with a bunch of initiates.
10 gold says Eowyn has already found it.
We'll send her a missive, let her know it's there. She'll find it for us. It'll be perfect. She
Okay,
loves books.
sure, yeah.
You want Eowyn to find and dig up this book that somebody is maybe sending demons after?
And then she could bring it to, say, the other professors, and they can keep it in a safe place. That way, you know, it's not just buried in a field somewhere where anyone can find it.
Who's digging in a field randomly?
Farmers?
I didn't bury it in a farm field.
Who knows? It could be a farm in, I don't know. Let's go back and explore it.
So you keep traveling.
Yes.
You keep going on your way until you once again find a good place to bed down for the night. You unyoke the oxen, set them to a tether along with Daybreak, and you roll out your bedrolls. And
I'm gonna take first watch this time.
you're gonna appoint a watch. That's probably a good idea. You appoint a watch. Throughout the evening, no sign of any large birds. Nary a rustle about just the sounds of, you know, the wind rustling through the trees. That's it.
No poof on the wind.
No whoosh or poof or pop. You guys are not near any Rice Krispies. And you wake up in the morning, everything's fine. You guys are all good. All your stuff is still there. It's the first thing you check when you get up. You all get up and you're like, where is it? And it's all there where it's supposed to be. And you get back on the road.
Like I thought, someone opened the portal somewhere. Just back there. We're fine.
All of
Put
your
some distance between us and it.
Cha!
all of your things are covered in like a thick coat of dew. It was a very humid
I thought you
evening.
said a thick coat of dude. That was not.
No, dew. D-W. Dew.
We've been frat slammed.
Damn frats coming out of the woods.
Anything of yours that was like exposed overnight is heavy and damp at this point. So you pack up camp, you set out again on the road. The sun just sort of starts to peek its head out around noon or so. So things you're wearing and all of your stuff sort of slowly starts to dry. You maybe take the cover down off of the wagon so you can lay things out easily to have everything dry.
Hey Cassian, would you regale us all with that lovely horse puncher song again?
I've actually got a new song I'm working on.
What?
If you,
I'd love to hear. Do you want us to listen or do you want us to join in?
I want you to sing along, actually.
Oh.
Well, I'll teach you the chorus. I'll teach you the chorus. It's called "The Underwear Bandits."
Oh.
It's a song I wrote about some of our enemies.
I think I remember these people.
So the chorus goes like this. The underwear bandits, they're hiding in the trees. They'd like to spring an ambush, but they're scared someone will see. The underwear bandits, they're not the brightest thieves. They tried to steal a fortune, but they lost their dignity.
Beautiful.
In the woods outside of Stone's Throw lives a gang of sunburnt thieves. For weapons, they have sticks and stones. For clothes, they just have leaves. They once were fearsome robbers, but those days are at an end. They lost their clothes when they lost a fight to Von Daemos and his friends. Hey! Ho! The underwear bandits, they're
hiding in the trees.
They'd like to spring an ambush, but they're scared someone will see. The underwear bandits, they're not the brightest thieves. They tried to steal a fortune, but they lost their dignity. Hey! There's more, but that's enough.
That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. you play an instrument, Ylldove?
Oh, yes.
I don't know if I should believe anything.
She is so mysterious.
She really is. Just get this feeling like you're not telling us the whole truth. I don't know what it is.
Maybe she's just cultivating an aura of mystique. That's something I know a lot about.
I've never learned how to do that spell. Aura of Mystique.
Yeah, I don't know. Check one of these books.
Okay. I'll read and drive. That's good. Okay.
So it's about this time that you see the trees that have sort of been hugging the road that you've been used to for the past several days now have started to sort of thin out. You're beginning to see plowed fields here and there, small buildings on the sides of the road. And you realize that you're approaching the city. You're approaching the outskirts of Bastafier. Pretty soon, you're there. Where Stone's Throw was a town, Bastafier is a city. It's far more populous. It is far more sprawling. You guys all ride in through the eastern gate, right through the legs of a large statue of what looks like Nicole, the goddess of strength, into a district known as the Forge. Smoke rises from numerous chimneys as the sound of hammers striking anvils and the smell of metal both permeate the air around you.
Well, let's look for a place so we can go in for the night.
Seek out some lodging.
There are a lot of options for lodging. You guys don't really know the city too well.
Is there anyone around that we can ask?
Oh, there are throngs of people.
Okay, I approach one of them and say, "Excuse me, do you know of a good place to stay here in the city?"
So he's sort of a gruff-looking man, probably in his late 30s, early 40s, wearing like a big leather apron. Clearly works in a forge somewhere. What's that? Well, there's a douse blade, there's Almwit's Rest, there's a ceasefire. I guess how much you're looking to spend is a real question.
That is a good question. We have not talked about finances yet.
We're relatively flush. I prefer to bed down in comfort if it's all the same to the rest of you.
All right, well, then you keep heading down this road. You want to take a ride at the big square. Ceasefire's just 2 roads down.
I was hoping it would be the ceasefire. It sounded the most welcoming.
All right.
All right,
Let's head on to the ceasefire then.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
I'm just like looking around. Do there seem to be a lot of soldier types here? Is it like a?
You don't particularly see soldiers. It's not really a military vibe you'd be getting from this part of the city. It looks like a lot of tradesmen, people who are making various wares, not necessarily weapons, though there are people who are making weapons and armor. Also a lot of people just making, normal everyday instruments that you would need that are made of metal. Shovels, cups. Some people are doing finer work. They're doing like cutlery and things like that.
Do we see anybody with the black armor on or anything?
Roll perception.
14.
Looking around, you do not see anybody with the black armor with the yellow insignia on it, no.
Okay, we follow the guide's directions to the ceasefire.
Okay.
Wait, before we go,
yes.
I shake his hand and then kiss him on the cheek as a thank you.
He says, oh, thank you. You keep going. It's kind of slow going at this point. There's so many people around that it's kind of hard to get through the streets with a wagon, especially with another horse in tow. So it takes you about an hour or two to get there, but you do finally make it through. You get to the large square. You take that right turn and go a couple of streets down, and there in front of you is the ceasefire. It's a very, very posh-looking building, kind of surprising for the area that it's in. But they've got stables on hand, so you can sort of stow the animals there, and yeah, you guys can go enjoy a nice evening, not sleeping under the stars, not sleeping on the ground.
When you say the area that it's in, it's still the sort of like industrial, whatever, craftsman area, or is it run down and seedy?
Oh, no, it's still the industrial area.
Okay.
This is like, there are forges left and right.
Well, I dismount Daybreak, and I look around for a stable hand.
Someone comes rushing out of the inn itself and says, oh, do we have guests for this evening?
I say, you do indeed, my good sir. I first require lodgings for my horse. I want to make sure that Daybreak is kept in comfort as befits his nobility. You can see he's a fine steed.
He says, oh yes, nothing but the finest, clearly. Nobility, you say. Are you a nobleman?
Well, I don't like to go bandying it around every which way, but yes indeed.
Oh, well, then, absolutely, of course, nothing but the finest. Are these folk in the wagon with you?
They're my traveling companions, yes. I would expect you to take as good care of them as though they were me myself.
Yes, absolutely, of course. This will give the wagon a good wash.
Fantastic.
And he clicks for some stable hands to come forward. He snaps at them, and they come forward, and they take Daybreak's bridle. They lead him away. They sort of get. They allow you to take the things that you'll need out of the wagon and lead the wagon and Beatrice and Claude over to a trough to get water, while you guys can go inside and get some rooms.
We head in. No, sorry.
Sounded like you were gonna do something.
Are there different types of people in here, or is it all the kind of same crowd?
It is different than the people you see outside. These are not necessarily the upper crust, but they're a lot cleaner in general than the people you see outside. Like, they don't look like they do hard work with their hands every day.
Oh, lovely to be back in this ring of society. This will be fun.
Chin up. Yarfik, we're finally niggling with...
Excuse me.
We look nothing alike.
I've had a long day of riding. I go up to the desk clerk and inquire about lodgings.
Yes, absolutely. We can. How many rooms do you need?
2? Or do we all want our own room?
I think we're okay. I don't need my own room.
I'm fine bunking with someone.
I say 2 rooms would be lovely.
Oh, yes, we can absolutely do that for you. That's no problem at all. Yeah, that will be 8 silver pieces per day per room.
Okay. I counted. I say I think we'll pay day by day. I'm not sure how long we'll need to be in town, so I count out the silver. I say I got this one, guys. I count out the silver for all.
It's party fun. We all have this one.
How we decided it would. Okay, cool. Then it's a team effort.
So you pay him. He leads you upstairs to your rooms, and you've got rooms for the night. Rooms come with a meal. Got a nice continental spread for the morning.
With bagels?
What?
With bagels?
Yeah, of course. It's continental.
It's true.
So what do you guys want to
Is
do?
there a waffle maker?
No, there's a waffle summoner.
I'm gonna go.
Waffle summoner.
After we get settled, I'm gonna let everybody know. I want to go check in at the local temple and see who's represented here.
Okay.
We'll just district and check in.
Okay, I say, Valera, I don't know if we actually,
It's Ylldove, thank you.
Ylldove, excuse
Wait,
me.
actually, don't call me that in public.
Okay, then it was on purpose. Valera, I don't know that we discussed this with you, but our errand here in Bastifir is to rendezvous with an organization called the Tempered Steel. They're a mercenary outfit in town. Now, Yarfik wants to commune with his god and his co-religionists. I could use a night of relaxation after the trail. I say maybe we plan to make our appointment in the morning. For tonight, we just see what the town has to offer.
I love that idea, Cassian. Try to keep it inside the inn this time. We'd not let Difficult find you again.
No promises.
Cool, sounds good.
Especially because I'm rooming with you, it's going to be very weird.
So I guess as Yarfik is taking off, I'm gonna go up, and after I get settled in the rooms, I'm gonna go up to the clerk again, and I'm gonna say, "This is my first time in your fine city. What sorts of entertainments are there to be had?"
Well, what are you looking for?
I say, something refined as fits a gentleman of my stature.
Oh, well, you'll probably want to go up to the Barter. That's the northern district.
Barter, you say?
The Barter, yes. It's more, to be frank about it, more moneyed types up there. So there are greater ranges of entertainment for whatever your predilections may be.
If you had some spare coin in your pocket and you were looking to entertain yourself in the Barter, where would you be?
Well, I guess I'd probably go to the Bright Knight. There's a fair amount of gambling that goes on there of a friendly nature.
I could do with a wager. What say you, companions?
Are the gamblers handsome?
To each their own, I suppose.
All right, I'm in.
I could go to the temple tomorrow. That might be fun.
I'm sure Achia will understand.
I'll check in with her tonight while you're in your room.
I say, outstanding. Then let's away to the Barter.
So you guys all stow your things. You set off on foot to the Barter. The Barter is the northern district in town. So the town is essentially a large circle. There are 4 outer districts and then 1 central district. You entered through the Forge. The Barter is the northern one. And the Barter is home to essentially all sale and trade of any kind in the city. All of the goods and things that are made in the 3 lower districts are all brought up to that district, and that's where they're either shipped out from or where they're sold.
Before we leave, also, I want to ask the clerk there. I know this establishment maybe not as much, but have there been any weird bar fights around here where people have gone missing afterwards or anything? Perhaps in lieu of an outhouse or...
Says, not that I'm aware of, but I don't frequent those kinds of establishments, if you know what I mean.
I just know there had been any rumors around town of people going missing.
Not that I've heard of, but it is a rather large town.
It's very, very true. Thank you very much.
I say, in the lieu of an outhouse.
I don't get it. What is it?
British humor, you wouldn't.
The clerk says, what's British?
It's a country, faraway country from across the sea where I'm from. Don't worry about it.
You're from British?
Yes, I'm from Britishland. It's a lovely country, excellent food, beautiful weather, mostly land.
I'll have to visit it at some point with you.
I'd love that.
So you travel on up to the Bright Night. The line between the two districts is almost like it was drawn on the ground. It's so stark. The Bright Night is really in the heart of the barter. So you make it all the way up in there. The people you see milling about here are cut from a very different cloth than the ones you were seeing in the forge. This is more like the people you saw inside the ceasefire. A lot of stuffy, aristocratic people that are very well dressed, some people making it rain, showing off their coin as you get up to the Bright Night.
Any dwarves or anything else I've noticed?
Yeah, there are people of various races. You see humans,
Any
dwarves.
clans that I recognize or anything?
Roll perception.
A 10.
There are some that you're like, I know that one. I know it. It's like right on the tip of my tongue. God, it's going to drive me crazy. I'm going to remember it at some point, and I'm going to blurt it out in the middle of conversation, and it's going to be a complete non sequitur. But no, you don't. You can't place them
Cragstone,
right there.
damn it!
Exactly.
Do any notice me or notice mine?
Not that you can tell, but yeah, you see dwarves. There are some gnomes. Not a lot of elves, but some, mostly humans. Do you have a question?
Any orcs?
Roll perception.
Any of your bandmates?
7.
7. You don't see any.
So we look around for the Bright Night.
Yes, and it does not take long to find it, as it is not just a clever name. There are so many lit torches and lamps outside this place that you're pretty sure you could see it from space. It is very, very bright, so it's very easy to find. You go in, and it is hopping inside. There's a bard up on stage who's plucking out a tune on his mandolin. Got the entire joint a-jumping. There are a lot of people playing various games, some card games, some that look like a form of chess. Some people are just off in a corner arm wrestling.
Hey, Olash, I bet we could make some coin.
Yes, we could.
What do you say? Contest of strength?
Use your tambourine arm. You'll beat them every time.
All right.
We head over to the arm wrestling area.
Okay. So you go over to the arm wrestling area. There are two fancy-looking lads who are currently embroiled in the arm wrestling match. These two, they look like they got their musculature from like playing polo as children. They're in very good shape, but it doesn't look like it was earned necessarily so much as like bought almost. And they are having a friendly match for, they'd only bet 5 gold on it themselves. And they finish the match just as you guys all walk over.
I'm actually, as we're approaching them, I'm sort of kind of like weaving around and coming from a different angle so that it's not obvious to them that I'm with Olash.
Okay.
I'll walk up with Olash.
And I go up to one of them and I clap him on the shoulder and I say, whichever one won the last match. Now, I've been scanning this whole establishment for gentlemen of noble bearing and obvious physique such as yourself. Not for sex. This brutish and ill-mannered traveler here has been challenging all and sundry to arm wrestling matches, and I'll wager you're the man to take him down and show him what true noble bearing means. Show her.
Are you betting over there, sir, on this wonderful traveler here that can beat that person?
I say, why, yes, I think my fine friend here, and I kind of grab him by the shoulders and just shake him really hard. I think my fine friend here can take her.
I don't believe that's a thing. I think she can take him in 10 seconds.
I then sort of float up in kind of a mysterious way.
Are you literally floating?
No, but just, it's kind of like a glide.
It's mysterious.
It's
Yes.
mysterious, Sam. And I just kind of hold out my hand and I say, 20 gold pieces on the orc.
I say, well, friend, this very attractive stranger seems to think that this orc is your match. What do you say? And I'm gonna subtly cast a minor illusion to make Olash's arms look smaller.
I'm also gonna pull that kid aside for a second and just whisper into his ear, I'll reward you handsomely if you lose.
Wait, what? Why are we betting against you now? I was trying to set him up so he would bet against you and we could win something.
Bet against, oh, I see
Because
what
I
you're
think
saying.
Olash is gonna win.
Yeah, Olash is obviously gonna win. Yeah, I'm trying to make
I've
him
been
lose.
saying this the whole time.
Olash doesn't know.
Oh, so you're gonna try to get
I'm trying to coerce him into losing on purpose. I'm
Okay.
rigging the match, Cassian.
But who am I gonna bet against?
Are we just betting with ourselves too?
Yeah, I guess so.
I just want to arm wrestle someone.
Wait,
I say
wait,
at the
weren't
bar,
there two
"Ladies and
kids?
gentlemen."
Weren't there two kids?
They're not like
yeah.
children.
Right.
They're
said,
like
all right.
late 20s strapping young lads.
Should we ask the
Okay.
guy who actually wants to do this?
Yeah,
I say,
guess.
you wanna wrestle, right?
And he says, yes, I would like to. I'm a little confused. It seems like you all know each other.
I say,
I say absolutely not.
And you clearly want me to arm wrestle her, and you also want me to arm wrestle her, but you want me to lose, and then you...
I say shh. And I put my finger on his lips.
seems like some
And then I
pretty clear
kiss him on the
signals.
cheek.
And meanwhile, his friend is sitting across the table, just sort of fuming that, like, you guys didn't choose him. And he just stands up and he goes, well, I'll do it.
Perfect.
I say, well, you know what? Just to make it sporting, I'll wager 10 gold on the half orc then. Do you take my bet on yourself?
He like,
Or are you chicken?
he like claps his hands onto each of his biceps and says, yeah, I'll take it. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a wager going on here. This strapping young lad and this strapping young lass are going to arm wrestle tonight. I'll be taking bets over here on who you feel could win.
And I'm gonna just strum out a really dramatic riff on my mandolin, like
You get some like boos and hisses because the other bard is still playing, and they're like they're really into what he's bringing to the table. So
Olash is also like a little concerned about why her arms seem smaller.
roll Constitution. Trust me.
8.
You're just not able to get your voice loud enough. You're like hoarse from traveling. So your voice doesn't really carry very far over the din that's in here already. So it seems like the only bets you guys are getting are the bets from like the people at the table.
Boy, if only Yarfik had some way to make his voice, I don't know,
I know.
louder.
Let me try this again. Thaumaturgy. Ominous voice moving. Ladies and gentlemen, in this corner, a strapping young lad who is looking to try to best this lass over here. It's the arm wrestling of the century, and you've got to get in on this action. I'm taking bets over here. Who do you think's gonna do it? The half-orc or the strapping young human?
You get some heads that turn. So a woman looks at you and says, well, what are the odds?
Well, right now, they're pretty even, but I give the half-orc myself, I'll be betting on 2-to-1 odds.
And I make a minor illusion of like a random voice somewhere in the crowd saying, well, I'll double those odds, 4-to-1 against in favor of the human.
Take it! I'll take that bet.
Sorry, that just sounded so much like dying Kermit the Frog. Great. So you get some people coming up. They're they're interested. You get like 5 or 6 bites on that. You guys ready to go? You want to do it?
Yes.
So the confused gentleman that you kissed on the cheek gets up from the table and vacates a spot, pulls the chair out, allows you to take a seat. It's just going to be an opposed strength check. We'll do a best 2 out of 3.
Okay.
Okay?
Do I get proficiency by any chance?
You do get your proficiency.
So that's 15. 25 and another 15.
Okay, so the first match, you guys, you grip each other's palms, and you each like grab an end of the table, and it's a tough fight. You go back and forth, but in the end, he gets your hand down on the first match. You get a couple more bites come up, a couple more people come up, and they're like, "Are you still taking bets?"
Yeah, of course.
A little more money goes out in the favor of the guy. Second match, you smoke him. It's like Cassian's got his hands on you guys. He says go, and just instantly, bam, down on the table. Third match, it could go either way at first. You guys are really battling back and forth, like to the point where sweat is forming on both of your brows. Your hands are even getting sweaty from like how hard you're gripping.
My voice is still in because I get this for about 10 minutes. Oh, sorry, it's a minute itself. So I'm going to cast thaumaturgy again and yell in this guy's ear. Maybe not. Maybe.
You can do it if you want to.
I'm going to whisper really ominously. Do you think you can win? Is this something you really want to do?
Roll intimidation.
20, not natural.
He hears what you have to say. And as you are sort of fighting back and forth, he has you almost down to the table, but then it starts to lift and just keeps going. And you can see him fighting, but then every so often you see his eyes just glance at Yarfik. As it just goes farther and farther, and the needle goes farther and farther until he's like twisting his wrist, trying to keep his hand off the table. But you just one more push, you just slam it down. And you've won. You win. You win the arm wrestling competition. Yeah! You're the best arm wrestler ever.
How much do we win? How many people took our bet?
You got about 7 bites on the betting. You opened it at 5. 3 of the bets were 5 gold. 2 of them were 10. You bet 20, correct? Yeah, so 3 of them were 20 gold. And then were you still going to pay him to lose?
He didn't even fight. That was the other guy that fought.
That's true. That's a good point. But yeah, so whatever that math works out to.
But I am holding hands with that guy.
Oh, you're okay.
So we got 85 gold altogether.
85 gold altogether. Okay, yeah. So, and those were all people who bet on the dude to win, and he lost. So that goes to the only person who bet on Olash to win, which was you, Cassian.
Sweet.
So you take the pot.
All right, which is how much now?
85 gold.
85 gold.
Sweet. It's going right in the coffers.
Yes, right in the coffers.
Lush.
The person that you just arm wrestled sort of gets up and he's like twisting his arm in his shoulder socket like, ooh, that was a good match. He puts out his hand to shake yours and says, "Hi, my name's Tristan."
I'm Olash, and I give him a hug.
And he like does not know how to react to that. So he sort of just like freezes deer in headlight style and waits for you to finish hugging him. How long do you hug him for?
Just like a couple seconds.
Okay, so it's like just a short hug. This is an Olash hello hug.
Yes.
Gotcha, okay.
Like I can tell he's not that into it.
I mean, it's not that he's not into it. He just is surprised.
Okay.
But he accepts it, and then you let go, and he's like, "Thank you. You've got quite an arm. It was a good match. Do me a favor, and your dwarf friend over there, just don't tell him my name."
At this point,
I say nonsense, Tristan. We're new to the city. Let us buy you a drink and you can tell us about it.
and I clap him on the shoulder. Agia thanks you for a great match. Good on you, but she was better.
He just nods his head and then turns away, back to Cassian and says, "Yeah, I'll take a drink."
Great. We find a table and I just kind of want to like find a little bit about the town and kind of just schmooze with this dude a little bit.
Sure. He gives up, a fair bit of information, cursory stuff. There, the other districts in town. So you guys came into the Forge. That's where you're staying. You're in the Barter right now. There's 2 more districts on the outskirts. One is called the Sawtooth. That's all about like woodworking and processing wood. And then the southern district is called the Growth. That's where all the agriculture is in town. The central district is called the Authority. That is where all of the government and clergy are housed in town. It's also where the richest upon richest of people live.
The richest, so even richer than in the Barter is the authority.
Yeah, you kind of get the feeling that most people don't live in the Barter. It is like a place of business and where people go to have fun, but it's not really like where lodging is found.
I say, have you lived your whole life in the Bastafier, Tristan?
Yeah, born and raised.
Lovely town.
Came up in the Sawtooth.
Is that right? You must have done well for yourself.
Well, my father's a woodworker. I've known my way around a lathe.
Fantastic. It's a useful skill. Always good to have a trade. I myself am a entertainer and sometime traveling hero. Cassian von Daemos. I give him a business card.
Oh,
You don't go through your
Tunda.
litany of things, or
Huh?
do you go through your litany of things, or?
The card speaks for itself at this point. I'm trying to keep the flow of the conversation going.
He looks at it. He's like, "Oh, this is impressive. It's a nice card. It's good stuff."
I say, that's right. Expert tunneler.
What
Give you a little link.
So what brings you guys to town?
Well, we have a rendezvous actually with some folks, some people who may have work for us, as it happens.
Oh, okay. It's cryptic.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't my intention. We're here to meet with some representatives of the Tempered Steel.
Oh, okay. Cool. Good for you.
Is it? You appear to know of their reputation. I mean, what can you tell me about them?
Oh, they're
As I
just
said, I'm new to town.
they're pretty intense. Pretty intense.
We're pretty intense.
Can't you see that fierce intensity?
No, I get it. Oh, hey, you know what? Have fun.
What do you mean intense? Like how intense?
Well, they're like really into strength and power, and like I don't know. They always struck me like it was more of an army than like I don't know, than like an altruistic organization.
I say, so that's not really your bag. You're more a man of skill. You know how to work the wood.
Yeah, I mean that's not how I'd say it, but
That's
How would
fine.
you
That's
say
how
it?
I'm saying it.
I'm a
Right,
woodworker.
scooch a little closer to it.
Are you both woodworkers? I'm still holding the other guy's hand.
Tom Roll is the other general.
Tom Roll?
Tom Roll. And he says, "Oh, well, no, I'm not a woodworker. My father is rich, so I never had to find a trade."
He squeezes his hand a little bit.
You know more than we do. Obviously, the Tempered Steel, they're an army itself, or you're saying they're more militaristic, but what's their role in the city?
Well, I mean, they don't like have a purpose here, I guess. I mean, they're not like we have our own gods and everything like that. I don't rightly know what they do, other than like sometimes they'll walk around being more important than other people.
So, like most rich people.
Pretty much.
Also, just out of curiosity, I mean, you yourself are involved in arm wrestling here. Has there been any disappearances of people after bar fights that you've heard about, or in anywhere in the town?
I mean, not that I know of, but it's a big town.
It's true. I just didn't know if you knew of anyone that had gone missing lately that people were looking for.
Any bald creeps in wizard robes skulking around the outhouses?
Perhaps a drow running around in a black cape.
What kind of entertainment were you looking for this evening?
It's not as much entertainment as just a side quest that we're looking into.
I say, although let's not rule anything out.
Oh, it's true. It's true. I was just wondering, or if anyone had showed up unexpectedly after being gone for a long time.
No. What is he talking about?
We recently busted up, in simplest terms, an underground slave fighting arena run by mind control wizards. And,
Like you do.
I say, well, that's just what happens in the traveling hero business. One day you're just, fighting goblins or kobolds in an underground mine. The next day you might be, breaking up a slave fighting ring. Another day you might be hitting a ghost with an axe. You never know.
Don't forget, you could also end up being in the legal counsel for a kobold.
Yes, you can indeed. Did I mention it's Cassian von Daemos Esquire, by the way?
He's like looking back and forth at this point. It's like, I don't even know what to believe anymore.
That's what I say quite often, and then I think of Aegea's light, and I'm taken back a hole.
It was Tomrel, right? The
Yes,
other one?
that's the one whose hand you're holding.
Yes.
I said,
that
why don't the
is-
two of you come back to our inn with us? We could tell you some stories, relax.
Cassian, I don't know if
I thought you said you weren't looking for sex.
I wasn't there.
I never said anything.
I can multitask.
Well,
Can you at least, wait till I leave the room?
Were you going to leave?
No, I wasn't planning.
Our room.
Yes.
Yes, I was gonna put a tie on the door.
Perfect.
well, Tomrel is more than willing to travel. Tristan,
I kind of
roll persuasion.
With advantage.
No.
That is 23.
23.
Cassian is very persuasive.
Tristan, I don't normally do this. I feel like
It's not a normal day.
it's
Met a big shot hero.
been a weird day. I'll take a walk.
Let's go.
So you guys finish up your drinks?
Yeah.
You stumble out of the bright night into the cold night air of the barter, and make your way back down into the forge over to the ceasefire. What now?
Just let the evening play itself out. No need to narrate, I don't think.
The evening plays itself out. Yarfik, I'm assuming you sleep on the couch.
Wherever there's an open place to sleep, because I'm
So you curl up in front of the fireplace.
No, I'm a penitent man. I fall asleep standing up.
Well, if you're a penitent man, you fall asleep on your knees.
Yes, near the fire.
Yeah. So the night happens. You all have a lovely evening.
I just want to clarify that Tomrel and I just stayed up talking
Oh, of course.
and really getting to know one another.
Yes. A lot of meaningful conversation.
Lots of meaningful conversation.
Which is great. You wake up in the morning, sort of shake off the evening, go down, enjoy your continental breakfast, gather yourselves and gather your things, so that you can set out on this errand you have of going to meet with the Tempered Steel.
Yes, I reread the letter because I don't remember exactly how they said to get in contact with them.
You were told to meet them at 12 Simlock Lane in Bastafier. Their doors would be open.
Okay.
That is what they said.
So we get directions from the innkeep on how to get there.
Yeah, you can get directions from the innkeep, and
Did you have a nice evening?
I did indeed. Did you?
No.
Sorry. Next one you get the room. I clap him on the shoulder. No hard feelings.
None at all.
Good man.
and with that, we'll end this episode. Slow clap. Love it. Thank you guys.
Thank you for listening. You can follow us on all the things at IWVT Cast, and you can check out the other great podcasts from Puma Knife at teampumaknife.com. This live experiment went well, so be on the lookout because we're going to try to do more live episodes. Keep an eye on our Facebook and Twitter for announcements. There's something you can do for us in the meantime, and it's well within your power. You can write us a nice review on Apple Podcasts or your listening platform of choice. It increases our visibility, which increases our fan base, which increases the chances you'll have more people to chat about our latest episode with around the old water cooler at work. Working hard or hardly working, classic work comedy. You can also go to patreon.com/IWVTcast and donate to the show. You'll get cool rewards and you'll help us make the show better for you. You win twice. The Improvised Weapons theme is by Adam Rabin. You can check out all of his work at imadeitup.com. Tune in next time as the party heads to their rendezvous with the Tempered Steel in our second live episode. We'll see you on the next episode of Improvised Weapons. This has been a Puma Knife production.